welcome back. Decided that I'm going to do Divine Feminine Energy Check-In. I've been waffling because it feels like there are many things that would be good for us to know. And I'm feeling like maybe doing a Divine Masculine reading too, but there's like so many energies up in here. I think what I'll probably do next is a Divine Masculine reading, and then I'm going to do a reading for tonight's new moon. And let's see. I'm definitely sensing an energy of, for like, how do I put it? Like your divine feminine energy is kind of in this place of thinking back to where things started, um, most especially in your twin flame journey, and also kind of this sword from the stone energy, like you're Madam Mim looking for your Merlin, but you're also like you're kind of waiting for your DM to come in and be the one to pull the sword from the stone. Like it's almost like the feminine energy right now feels like it's like you had your sword out, you're very Queen of Swordsy, and you're just like, I'm done playing, and you like stabbed Excalibur into the stone, and you're like, if somebody else can pull this out, sure, I might consider going that way, maybe a soulmate or something, but you're pretty confident that only your true DM can pull it out, and you want them to, but they're currently not doing that. But let's see what's going on energy-wise, and maybe pull some cards of what's going your way. I haven't really done a reading like this in a long time, and I didn't really have a strong format, so I'm just going with the flow right now. So we have Kicking of the Carrot cards, 24, and Snow. Oh, look at that. Hello, Mambu. I think I just saw your comment asking about one of my first videos. I don't know which video it was that you commented on. I think one of my first videos was a Scorpio Mercury retrograde reading, but it could have been a different one. I don't know. It's been a while. It's been almost 2 years since I started this channel, I think. Um, Anyway, so the kicking card is about an act of bravery. Oh, the woodpecker video. Yeah, I was almost going to say, I couldn't recall if that was my very first video, or I think it was the first video that I did after the initial tarot reading one I tried to do, but I might have done the flicker feather one first to get myself comfortable with it, because I was very camera shy for a little while. In any case, it's funny that you come on to it, because that's why I was saying, like, it feels like divine feminine energy is very much like in that kind of thinking about how things began kind of energy, and that would, I mean, that seems like new beginnings. And so with this card Kicking, this is a card, it means a brave act, and 24 equals 6, so that's related to the Lovers card. So and I know this is energy for me right now too, is like doing a brave act, and kicking too. It could be you're kicking yourself to do something different, or maybe you kicked at your divine masculine to stand up for themselves or stop mistreating you, or doing something like that. And then Snow, I really want to see if I have the little booklet for these, because these cards are still new to me. um, and I typically like reading intuitively, but sometimes it's nice to get to know what the authors thought, what they were thinking in the beginning and stuff. But it might just be that we're not going to do that. Well, let's see here. Oh, interesting. That's weird. I just found a check that I have not cashed. That's cool. It's only for $20, but $20 is awesome to have. So maybe divine feminine. I find no coincidences when I get into a reading and things happen, if they come about. So and 20 is relevant too. I mean, the year 2000 could be relevant for you. I know 2001 is when I met my masculine. And then it could also be that the Judgment card is relevant for you right now. But when I think of Snow, I think of the purity of Snow. I think of Snow White. And I also think about cold, like a coldness. And it kind of reminds me of the Five of Pentacles. which is one of the only cards that has snow in it. And it seems like you had to take a brave act recently, to that either was because you felt left out in the cold, or because you knew that you needed some space, you needed that ability to like softly walk through the crunching snow, or maybe you knew that your masculine needed to go through that kind of an isolation period. But either way, it's a brave act that you either have taken, or soon will. The underlying card on there is the burrow. And I mean, the burrow is home, you know? And home is where your heart is. And, let's see what's in the heart of the matter. The hoe. That's kind of funny. Card number 22, which is 4. I mean, it's funny because immediately off the bat of my head, I could hear somebody thinking about karmics, and what they might like to refer to them as. So maybe you have a karmic situation going on. Maybe that's what you bravely stepped away from. Maybe you are putting yourself in isolation and separation away from your masculine if they're in a karmic situation. And you're kind of in that nostalgic energy of thinking about when you met and things like that, and you're just kind of tilling the soil. You're pulling weeds out, you're making space for things, you're working on your garden. The hot topic card, that's interesting. So we got a theme, like a winter theme here. It says the winter landscape. So it may be that this, whatever it is that you're processing right now, is something that happened over the recent winter season. We're still technically in winter, and it won't be till March 20th on the equinox that we will transition out of the astrological new year and into spring officially, at least here in the west coast of the northern hemisphere. Um, so that's the hot topic. You're thinking, and the tree. I mean, I'm feeling like you're thinking about the family tree. You're thinking about community. You're thinking about growth that just feels like it's wet and covered up. And you're thinking about your home, and this burrow card. I'm kind of getting the image, actually. Sorry, of Winnie the Pooh, like when he was stuck in that hole. Well, that was interesting. So maybe that's a thing. Maybe you feel like you're stuck in a hole. That is so funny. I hope my masculine watches this video, because that is so related. He used to have a 69 Dodge Dart that it was bright orange, and it did. I mean, it very much looked like the car from Dukes of Hazzard. And I got him this little RC car that looked. It was um, the car from Dukes of Hazzard, and generally that's what it was. And it came with a little horn like that, and he hooked it up to the actual Dodge Dart in order to have that horn be the sound. That's so funny. Thank you for that, Spirit. It may be that you're feeling like taking charge, because that's that. It's not the official charge thing, but it's definitely well, it feels like war related. It's funny, as I'm going to do a reading for today's new moon, and it feels like this energy of the War of Roses, which is, it's funny, it's both a movie, you might look into it, might be what your DM is going through with the karmic right now, and it's also a period of history. And I mean, if nothing else, to give yourself a little bit of fun reading material, you might look into it. But it's funny, it's actually Divine Maverick who did a reading recently that said War of Roses, and it was such a synchronicity to me, because my DM had mentioned that one time. It was funny because I actually genuinely have not been trying to push and pull on him. I love him, and I've just tried to be honest about that while being respectful of the karmic situationship that he's in. But there was something that he said. It was like it really gave me a clue that he thinks and thought that I was really trying to like lure him back in, and that's what his karmic thought. It got into making this joke about, it's funny that I ever thought that any of your exes or anyone else was the threat, because clearly I am such a big threat, and I'm not even doing anything. In fact, most of all I've focused on is about making sure that our kids are safe and loved and get time and attention from him, which she's made sure that he has no time or energy for. And that's been turned into me using that supposedly as a way to try to interfere in things. And I'm just like, oh, honey, well, I ain't got to interfere in nothing. You guys are doing a damn good job creating your own drama and your own situations. What do I got to add anything to it for? But that doesn't mean that I don't have my own emotions. It doesn't mean I don't have my own things flowing into it. But the War of Roses thing, and especially with the battle, um, yeah, it's funny. Sometimes we don't realize the influence we have on others, or even just the way that others might perceive us because of their insecurities. And, that might be very relevant in terms of divine feminine check ins. Like, it may be that we're not realizing the influence that we have on others. And even if we're just being genuine and authentic, if they're in ego and they're still in pain body and going through karmic cycles, they may perceive us differently than we actually are. But that, I've learned, is a kind of a challenge from spirit to be authentic anyways. Do the scary thing anyways. And sometimes that could be telling them off. Sometimes that could be telling them the truth. Sometimes that can be telling them you love them. Sometimes that can be pulling away. Like this kicking in snow cards and being brave and being willing to go it alone if you need to. I'm gonna, let's see, 53. So 8, 4, and 5, 12, 517. So we've got the star card number in there. And it's funny, the snow card is card 43, which is 7, relatable to Cancers and Leos, but it's also victory. And what I'm going to say is that even though you might feel isolated and alone right now, maybe you're in a no contact situation, or maybe maybe you shared some things or pushed for a situation to get yourself free. Maybe you did a brave thing and your DM reacted either in a way that was unexpected or that was expected, but has created a no communication, no contact situation. And what those cards are telling me is more than likely is actually that was exactly what needed to happen when it needed to happen. It was divinely timed. Don't beat yourself up for it. Just explore this new region. Whenever it snows and it covers the ground, that is a new landscape. And just explore it. Enjoy the crunchy stuff. Your Aquarius, Leo moon, nice. I am well. Birth chart is Capricorn Sun, Aries Moon, and Gemini Rising, and then my sun sign is actually progressed into Pisces, which is particular because I was born near the cusp of Cappy and Aquarius. I want to look at. I'm going to use these newer cards that I have. Also getting the energy of bats, which is usually transformation. It's also nighttime, things like that. I want to look into this. I'm torn between the kicking and the snow card. Let's get some. Let's say thank you for clearing first. Let's get some clarification on the kicking card on this brave act, which relates to the number 6, which is the Lover's card. Thank you, Spirit, for some clarification. What's for the Divine Feminine Collective? What's this kicking act about? Oh, got some cards kind of flitting in and out. Kind of getting this kind of bittersweet energy. So the last deck that I used is, it's called Carrot Cards. And this one is the Energy Oracle cards. They're both a little bit newer for me. I hadn't played with them yet, but they're definitely in here. All Tied Up card almost popped out, which is, freeing yourself from restrictions and limitations. What do we got here? Card number 36, second chakra, Archangel Ariel. It was in reverse. And it's funny, Ariel, it definitely reminds me of Little Mermaid. And that song, sha-la-la-la-la-la, don't you mind? Go on and kiss the girl. Sha-la. I know I skipped some stuff in there, but it reminds me of that. In reverse, so second chakra, solar plexus. I'm getting a lot of, tingles on this, especially around the neck version. It feels like, you know what, let's get another card. maybe that, I mean, it really feels like you released you released energy. You're like depressing your pull, your sexual pull, your tantric pull towards your masculine, and that's kind of depressing it in all other areas, like creativity wise, and like it may have been hard to do that. This next card that came out, 15, appreciation. You know what it feels like? It feels like you were not getting the creative connection from your masculine for whatever reason. Um, and we might look more into that later, but you weren't getting that connection with your masculine, some sort of playfulness, sweetness, inner child kind of stuff, and or maybe sexual connection, and you were not feeling appreciated. And one of the things I love about this card is when you read it, it says, like, if you look at her, she's holding a rose that comes from a rose bush in the background, and she could be focusing on all these bramble bushes all around, and being like, oh my gosh, look at all these sticks and things like that. But she's not. She's focused on the rose, and she's. It's funny. I'm just noticing like one of her eyes looks really weird. I think it's just because of how small she is in the picture, but it almost looks like one eye is like glass, like just white, and the other eye is not there. You know what I find interesting about this card though is although it says appreciation and the meaning of it is very appreciative, like the look on her face, it's more Queen of Swordsy. It's not. It's like off with her head, like Queen of Hearts kind of thing. Like, I dare you, take this rose out of my hand, something like that. Um, and it may be that that's part of the brave act that you did, is that you were not being appreciated and you got thorny. And every rose has its thorns, and for good reason. And it may be that because maybe your masculine was like focusing only on the thorns within you, within themselves, all around. I just saw 1717 on the clock, so double star, and also 16 tower. So it could be that well, it's likely that your masculine was going through some tower situations and like removing even more connection from you, and that you felt unappreciated, but you also recognized that he was focused on the thorns instead of the roses, and you did something brave in order to try to get him to see that even though the roses are not as abundant as the thorns, that they are that much more important to focus on than the rest. Let's see. I haven't read card number 36 yet, so let's just see how close I am and how much of that was just intuitive. 36, second chakra, Archangel Ariel. Oh yeah, intimacy and creativity. I was thinking that, like that genuine connection, intimacy. You're missing the intimacy. Reversed. When this card is reversed, you may find that your creativity is being blocked. If this is the case, you might need to take more risks and open up to new and different ideas. Go inward to find the feelings that may be causing this blockage. Call upon Ariel to help you release old fears and self limitations. Affirm that you are open to spirit's love and creative inspiration. This card can also signal problems with intimacy of all kinds and issues of sexual intimacy in particular. Visualize Ariel spinning a beautiful light in your second chakra, calming and healing the energy there. Know that real closeness can be both safe and comfortable for you, and that you deserve a depth of sharing in your relationships. Affirmation: my second chakra is open to its perfect healthy state. I am creative and self nurturing, more and more comfortable with the gentle waves of intimacy coming my way. So, you know what I get a feeling of this is that, I mean, I'm right on the intuitive thing that you were not getting any kind of intimate connection from your masculine. Oh, that's funny. See, look what ended up on the bottom of the deck. All tied up. I was saying that one kind of wanted to come out, so that's on the under all issues there. I'm just curious to look. Oh, yeah, on the hot topic. It's in reverse. That's funny. What did we say? The time 1717 equals 16. This is the 16th card. It's the patience card, and it's in reverse. And so I mean, that's impatience. That's a tower having to do with impatience, and you probably have waited a very long time. And it may be that this brave act that you did was you allowing yourself to be impatient. A lot of divine feminines are very good at being patient, and I mean, we do deal with issues of codependency as well, but we really don't need a lot, like a little bit of intimacy here and there, a little bit of that connection, and we can go quite a ways and let our masculines do their things. But if they remove all of that, um hello Glenn, hello Glenn, thank you, you're a gem too. uh, it may be that the brave act was allowing ourselves to be impatient, because we felt tied up and limited, and they felt, we knew that they were tied up and limited. It's interesting, right beneath this, contract in reverse. So some sort of, maybe they broke a promise, or too, well, probably too many promises, or maybe you broke a promise, intentionally. Maybe you decided to break a promise in order to help create the freedom from being all tied up. And in the heart of the matter is anxiety in reverse. And you know, the funny thing is, this card in reverse, number 18, is actually good. It means freedom from anxiety. And right beneath that is card number 32, door to spirit. And so that's at the heart. That's at the heart of what's going on. You want to be free from the anxiety. You want to be free to pursue your missions, and you want to be able to do it with your masculine. But I mean, considering these two cards, it seems like you're ready. You know, divine feminines in the collective are ready to be free from restrictions. And if divine masculine is tied up in karmic situationships or jobs or patterns or thoughts or things like that, you know, we're saying, okay, you do that. I'm not going to focus on the thorns right now. I'm going to focus on the roses. And it feels like because of that second chakra in reverse card, and especially because 3 and 6 equals 9, that we're going into this kind of 9 of Pentacles thing, to where it's like, you know what? It's time for me to heal. It's time for me to focus on other things that are good for me. And I think right now, especially with the heavy Piscean energy, because this is Pisces season, along with the overall overarching Aquarian stellium going on, that we're facing healing issues of intimacy, especially ones that have largely been created. I just saw 22:33 on the clock. 4 and 6 is 10, divinely timed. Like, this is a good time to focus on healing the issues with intimacy and creativity blocks that have, like, it's not that they've necessarily been created by divine masculine, but they probably, it's like divine masculine poured salt in wounds that were already there, that either could have come from people before them, or could have gone, they were likely created when you were young, either watching your parents in their relationship, or things that they did with you, mother father wound kind of stuff, that have been blocking your creativity. And or it could simply be that you've been over focused on divine masculine, and it's kind of like, you know, a watch pot doesn't boil, or a watch kettle doesn't boil kind of thing. And so you're, you know, just a 23 on that. So it's very likely that now is a good time to learn to be creative without focusing on divine masculine. Now I want to look at the snow card. It feels kind of like an isolation. Isolation. That's interesting. An I solution. It feels, you know, maybe that's what it is. It's like I solution would be like me as an individual, or ego. Maybe it was an ego driven solution, but ego is not always bad. We have to remember that ego is there for good things too, and it's good to go through periods of space and distance. They help you clarify things, you know. And really, if you think about it, snow is contrast. It really makes the green stick out on the trees, or the browns on the deciduous trees and things like that. It helps bring you clarity. So let's see what the snow card is about, especially since I don't have the book to know exactly what that is. I'm just going to say that my intuition is fine, but we'll see. Thank you, Spirit, for showing us what this snow card is about for Divine Femmes and the collective. Oh, the world wanted to almost come out, but it didn't. Thank you for showing us what this... Oh, all right. Got two cards. Oh, it's interesting. So in the middle, 31, door to value. Interesting. And then on the bottom ended up being, look at what, see, told you it wanted to come out, the world. 29. And now on top, happy family. Kind of a, kind of cups thing. What do we get? Oh, interesting. I'm laughing. Okay. The magician in the mirror and the angel of strength. We got 53, which equals 8, which is also strength. So we've got two cards about strength. And with two fives in there, we've got change in there too. Very Beauty and the Beast and very Merlin-ish there. I haven't read the meaning to either of these, so I'm just really taking in one. I love the imagery on these cards. Definitely, it might be, if you're DM and you have a significant age difference, that might be relevant. Could be like anywhere between 5 and 8 years age difference. And it may be, maybe you have a, maybe, well, I mean, maybe they have Leo placements or you do, or it could be that there is a karmic in between you guys that has Leo placements or is acting very Leo. Um, I say Leo's on an evolved side. I just saw 26 on the clock, which is 16 tower. The Leos can be either wonderfully theatric or horribly dramatic. And I have a Leo sun and lots of Leos in my life that I love. I say that with love. Um, and I'm not free from my own drama for that matter. But like it seems like I mean, there's someone in the middle, and that created moving towards this snow card. I really want to read. I like usually to do more intuitively, but I really want to read and see what this says. 53. Let's do 53 first. Okay, Magician in the Mirror. Knowing and using your true power. Upright. This card upright represents the culmination of your personal and spiritual power at this time. In the magician's left hand is the flame of passion and action. In his right hand is a vortex of water and the light of reflection. You know, it's funny. Vortex has been a theme for me. Especially, it's funny. There's two strange places. Actually, now I can think about it, there's four. The place where my masculine is, it's funny. Now I think about it, there are, because I do DoorDash delivery between where I am and where he is, where he works and lives, and there are vortexes. There's these little bubbles where like phones won't work and other things are kind of weird, and it's like it's funny. In fact, when I think about it, it's in four different directions all around it to a certain distance, and I've been thinking about other vortexes and other places where I know that, like, I've gone for spiritual experiences, that there are vortexes on the way to and away from in many different directions, and it's very interesting, very relevant. Um, Let me know in the comments if it's relevant to you too. Anyways, yeah, in his right hand is a vortex of water and the light of reflection. Definitely also, I mean, water energy, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. This highly beneficial card is telling you that you are the magician, and within your grasp are the amazing forces of earth and spirit. The water is the energy of yin, the power of spirit and clarity of thought. And you know, it's funny, I think I did an all signs reading a few days ago that had the yin yang card in it, so that may be relevant. I'm sorry, I did not see what you said. Snow is delicately beautiful, for nice crystals, 30. Yes, yeah, that's very relevant too. Yeah, it does. It looks pretty at first, and then it melts down to mush later. You know, that feels actually more relatable to what a lot of divine masculines I think are going through right now. Is that they chose something that looked pretty on the outside that they thought would last, and it didn't. And it also, it's funny because that feels very relevant to, like, if your masculine has been very cold to you, it you know, it one, that's probably melting away, And two, it's very likely that they've been in a very messy situation. They've been hoping that if they just be very King of Cups in reverse, and they just don't show any emotions and they don't talk about it, then nobody will see it. And but it's melting anyways. And we've already seen 16 come up several times in the reading. It's 304 right now, which is 7. Another Cancer Leo thing, and also like momentum, the victory of that. So things, I'm going to say, Divine Femmes, because of that, and thank you for saying that, that the situation is melting. The situation is melting, and that means it's good and it's bad. It means that it's melting, as in the mess is already there. It's mushy, it's gooey, but it will eventually dry up, and the grass will come out, and things will grow from it, and will be good. And also, the ice around their heart is melting. So if you, I mean, you took a brave act, and you've been in no communication, no contact. Don't worry, 30-30 on the clock. 2 Empresses, also 6, and Lovers. And I think also for you, like whatever you're feeling, I mean, if you're feeling that Winnie the Pooh stuck in a hole thing, which is probably you and your masculine reflecting, like you've overindulged in a little bit too much of something, and you're stuck in the hole trying to get yourself out. Which is funny, maybe do something playful, like what is it? Rabbit did? He put antlers and a smiley face on Pooh's butt, so at least it wasn't just a butt there; it was a deer, right? But there'll playfulness is coming. The warm weather is coming. It's arriving, and I think that any iciness that you're feeling in seclusion, it'll be warming up. Now let's see. The water is the energy of yin, the power of spirit, and clarity of thought. The flame is the energy of yang, bringing direction and creativity. Together they give you the magnificent magic of transformation. The mirror stands beside the magician, reflecting the outer world's response to your choice to use or dismiss. Hey, Elizabeth, it's good to see you. Blah blah blah. The mirror stands beside the magician, reflecting the outer world's response to your choice to use or dismiss the true power that you have. Its silver reflection reveals the future and a mist on the horizon, ready to be magically formed. And also, I was thinking about that's connected to the sacral chakra card that we had come out in reverse, and so you had to kick away something in order to find your own connection. Maybe you also, maybe your DM did made a sexual move towards you, or you found that they were still connecting in some way with you, and that when maybe looking at old pictures you shared or something like that, and you kicked that away, like you kicked that down. You know what it feels like, that kicking card? It feels like Divine Feminines saw a weak spot in Divine Masculine's Jenga tower, and Divine Masculine was being a turd, and so like you kicked it over. You saw where that piece was, and you went bink, and it all it all fell over and made a mess like the snow. But what that feels like though is that balance, like healing that sacral chakra and energy, the creativity, the intimacy, the playfulness, and stuff like that. Um, it says, when you receive the magician upright, you are put on notice that an important and powerful time is at hand. You are the alchemist of your life, and just as an alchemist turns base metals into gold, you are now able to transform your difficulties into great blessings. This is true of every area of your life. Claim your power and embrace your intentions in your heart and in your daily life. Direct your destiny, and the mist of the future will clear into brilliant reality. Affirmation: I have all the power I need to create the destiny I desire. Magic happens when I live in consciousness with my eternal truth. You know what that kind of feels like too? 33 on the clock, look at that. And that's 12. New perspective, hanged man. It feels like a dual acceptance of truth, that you love your masculine and you want to be with them. However, you need now to embrace your power and stand in your truth and heal. How do I put it? Like, when you come, like I just did a bunch of readings that were growth opportunity readings, and it's one of those, like, if you're in a situation where you're in no contact or no communication with your masculine, especially if it has to do with sacral chakra things like intimacy, sweetness, playfulness, creativity, communication, stuff like that. And that's been either you pushed that away or you took that away. I'm seeing 1010. It's divinely timed to help you heal issues of intimacy that likely need to be healed before union can come in anyways. Or I should say 3D union, because you should be practicing the feeling that you have 5D union, and even that you have 3D union already. Like time and space in this 3D realm really don't matter or make much of a difference, but we created this reality so that we could experience independence and separateness and be able to um, make our way back to the recognition that we're all already together. And yes, what I'm going to say, this is a divine feminine reading, so what I'm going to say is that if you meditate on and ground and do some clearing of your sacral chakra, just do all your chakras, but if you put some extra focus into calling back any soul shards, doing any soul retrieval to your sacral chakra, I mean, it's do it for you. Don't do it to call in your DM. Do it for you because, for one thing, that's a lot of times what DMs need to do. They need to focus on healthy self care. And when we do that, they reflect us. If we do it for them, then they're likely doing things for others, and that's likely to keep them stuck in karmic situations and us stuck in these cycles and et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's kind of part of the snow card and the magician and the mirror. Like, and think about that too. Mirror is a reflection. And I've been seeing a lot of references to mirror, mirror on the wall. So, and 1111 now. Recognize that when you do good for you, just for you, because you deserve it, then they reflect you and they do the same thing for them. And a lot of times when a divine masculine is unawakened and they run, it's because they don't feel that they deserve they don't feel like they deserve you. They don't feel like they're of your caliber. They feel like they're too different from you. They're not a good person. They don't deserve to do that. And they tend to find karmics because they want distraction from that. They don't want to think about that. They don't want to look at that. You know, it makes towers for them. And so, 9/11, there's 3/11 here now. Look at that. So they get into that because they don't practice good, healthy self care. And so, if you do that for yourself, you work on doing that for you, then they're likely to reflect you. And you might not see it right away, but you'll see it over time. And the more that you practice it and the more you are an example of it to yourself and for yourself, then you will start to see it more from them. Um, let's see, card number 50, Angel of Strength. Look at that, 9/11, 6/11, 3/11, 11/11. Seeing patterns, huh? Thanks for the confirmation, Spirit. Spirit usually, I was just saying this in a different video, it's funny, like really, we should only need one sign in order to go, oh yeah, thanks, that's an answer, right? But we're silly, and we often don't trust ourselves. 37:37 on the clock, 10:10 again. And so we ask for, we'll see a sign and it'll be like their name or something, and we're like, I don't know, that could be a coincidence. Could you show it to me again, Spirit? And they'll show it to us like two more times. And we're like, I don't know, though. I could just be making it up. I could just be reaching, right? And then Spirit shows it to us another three times. We've got six times. We're like, still, I don't know. I mean, am I crazy? Because he's not connecting, or we're not connecting. Why am I seeing this? Are you sure? Can I have another sign? Another sign? And Spirit loves the divine comedy of it. Spirit has no problem showing us as many signs as we want to call in. It's not, it's not going to get annoyed with us, but we get annoyed with ourselves. And I mean, really, you got to recognize that you call in how you feel and what you think about most often. So if you're feeling like the signs are not enough, you're going to bring in signs that they're not quite enough of a sign. So, even if you see one sign, just say, thank you for that, Spirit. Yes, please, more of that. It's okay to want more and more. I see 3:13 on the clock, but just 7, right? Victory. Angel of Strength. Personal power and inner strength, which is also, now I think about it, connected to the solar plexus too. It seems like, it's funny with the kicking and the snow card. It seems like we have worked very well on root chakra stuff, but it would be good to make sure to give some extra love to it. But we have more of a sense of stability and security and sense of root in who we are, especially if you've been in a separation for a while, or you've been through multiple separations. If you're in my case, because I've been dealing with my masculine for 19 years, so there's been multiple separation situations. Like we've kind of dealt with that base. of things, and we're now working on sacral chakra stuff and solar plexus stuff, like healing the intimacy, giving ourselves the intimacy that we want, allowing in love from multiple places, friendships, maybe soulmates, other things, allowing ourselves to learn to be creative without needing to have that 3D connection with our masculines, getting the sweetness. I know that for me right now, a big one is I'm missing the connection of sweetness with my DM. That's one of the things that I really, really miss with him. And there just are not many others that I've met that bring that in. And there's a few soulmate-esque individuals who have come in that are showing me that, but I noticed that I have shadow work there to do because I don't want it from them. Even though it's like, for a while it was nobody else could be this way with me, the way that my DM is. And then here's Spirit going, you want to bet? You want to bet? I can show you. I can bring it to you. Is that what you want? But then it comes in and it's like, but that reminds me more of him and reminds me more of that isolation feeling in there. And it's like, but then it seems like the challenge is, though, if there needs to be a no contact or no communication situation, and I am deserving of that sweetness and I feel deserving of that, and 1212 on there, why am I stringing myself up to wait for that? Especially my masculine is still getting himself out of a karmic third party situation. He's got a kind of an Agatha Christie thing going on. So even when he's free of the situationship that he's in, he's still got workaholism to deal with, and alcoholism, and just other cycles and exes and things that he's got to deal with. So I know, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a long time, but like it will go faster if I can focus on me and allowing in that playtime. And really, like, for me, I have a Capricorn Venus, so I'm very much like a swan, mate for life. I know who I want. I know who I want to be with. And so it's kind of finding that balance between, like, being okay with having casual connections that bring me the energy that I want so that I can feel like I'm already there, which I know from experience in the past brings him into that. And it takes away that whole watching the kettle, and so it won't, I was gonna say it won't burn, it won't boil, it's like trying to watch the grass grow. Yeah, you could do it, but what's better is to set up a camera and just let it sit there, and then later do one of those fast forwarded time ellipse things and seeing seven, right? And just allow the momentum, allow the grass to grow on its own. You don't have to watch it growing, it's going to grow. It's kind of like looking at the bare trees, the deciduous trees. Like, you don't have to think about how much energy and things is going on inside that tree to know that it's going to sprout leaves, and understand. Hello, Ruth. It's nice to see you again too. Um, you don't have to think about all the processes of photosynthesis that are going on to know that that tree is going to sprout leaves and then flowers, and then some of them will turn into fruits or nuts or things like that. Like, you could just go, oh yeah. Like, you don't look at the bare tree and go, oh, that tree's definitely dead. No, in fact, usually most of the time you look at a bare tree and you know that the leaves are coming in, and you're not impatient about it, and you're not like looking at the branches going, oh man, that one's growing all ugly and crooked. No, you're just like, hey, that's how that tree is growing. That's kind of cool. It's got like a couple of pieces on it. Almost looks like an L, and the other one almost looks like a one. And I mean, it's kind of cool. And like, how many different wands references can I look at this? Like, this one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 main branches. So maybe, 13, the 13th wand would be like the Queen of Wands or the King of Wands in there, maybe. Or would it be the ace ones? I don't know. Anyways, like, there, you can look at it and know that spirit is taking care of it. Something between science and magic is happening in there. And if you just come back and you just love it the way that it is, eventually it will sprout the most beautiful leaves and flowers. And guess what? So will masculine, and so will you. Um, yeah, so angel of strength. This amazing angel brings the news that this is a time of increasing power for you. It's not time to be passive or submissive, but to speak your truth and take action on your own behalf. You are capable of taking greater control and directing your own destiny, for the power that comes from within reaches out to the universe and beyond. Inner strength and unlimited resourcefulness flow through you at this time, helping you to create real results. Call upon this wonderful angel and on your inner resourcefulness to bring you the focus and resolve to do what's necessary in order to make your dreams a reality. Affirmation. Deep within me is an abiding strength that knows no bounds. I have all the power I need to achieve all that I want. Which is something that's good to recognize in terms of your twin flame relationship and also in anything else you want to do. Maybe you have felt stuck in a hole or you felt uncreative because you don't have the connection with divine masculine. Well, guess what? When you figure out how to create everything that you want and to glow up either for the first time or again without needing connection with your DM or even any sort of relationship, that is so hot. That's so attractive, you know? And definitely for divine masculines, even when they're unawakened, and often it makes them more jealous than if you were in relationship, especially if they're stuck in a karmic situationship and you're out there free and living it up and being like, I'm every woman, right? You know, you're doing your thing, 12:12 on the clock, like that. That makes them go, what is, why can't I do that? Like, what is, yeah, especially if you're masculines, if they're in a karmic situation, their abundance isn't doing good. And they probably have curfews and all sorts of, like, unfortunate situations they don't want to be a part of. They see you out there having a good time, bringing in the coin, having fun, being creative. They're gonna be like, I have to have that, and if the feminine can do that, why can't I do that? What's wrong with me? And I've actually seen my masculine do that multiple times, so I can attest to that. And I have seen others, I've coached others that have done similar things. I'm curious to read the bottom and top cards here. So 29, the world, because it wanted to come out when I was shuffling. I'm really liking these new cards. 29, the world, expansion, opening up. The man in this picture is looking over a bay above which the beautiful sphere of the earth is rotating. This card is reminding you to expand your vision and contemplate some much broader options. The world is wide, so there's a lot out there to consider. In the modern age of technology, this could specifically be referring to creating or expanding to a more global network through the internet or social marketing. Drawing this card also lets you know that you have unlimited resources available to you, and now is the time to think big. As they say, the world is your oyster, so get ready to gobble it up. Which also reminds me of something shared between my masculine and I is what is it, the thing from Alice in Wonderland? The time has come, the walrus said, to talk of many things, right? When he's talking the oysters into becoming dinner, effectively. So, seeing 12:12 again, and 321, which is 321, so a descending situation. And the song that's playing on the radio is that one, Be All Right, which is like, let her go. That feels like if you're feeling that kind of bittersweet energy in the background, stop and maybe consider that maybe that's not so much you. It might be your masculine, and especially if you are focusing on wider things. That's funny, the walrus thing. Now, number 4, which is Emperor card in the Rider-Waite deck. Happy family, closeness, fun, and caring. This would be, for me, would be the hot topic card. It's at the forefront of your mind or things that are being talked about, and or things that are being talked about. The rainbow over this happy family portends a time of joy and celebration. Close connections are available, so don't overlook the fun and frivolity that a friend or family experience can bring. The value you find in a truly loving relative or friend brings a higher vibration to your life force. You may be distracted or busy, but remember to put this part of your life in the forefront of your priorities. If you're single, finding this card in your spread could indicate a potential meeting and perhaps relationship with someone who has children from a previous marriage. This ready-made family might bring some challenges, but it could be your destiny in this lifetime. This card may also signify a celebration coming up, such as a wedding, anniversary, or birthday party. Enjoy. Affirmation: I open myself to a new and deeper experience of family, and I'm ready to seek greater happiness there. I know that I am the loving family that I need. That's great too. And that does very much reflect that, like, be for yourself what you want from your masculine, or from anyone, from any relationship. And then when you can treat your relationships like they are the cherry on top, or like the sprinkles on top, the whipped cream, rather than the entire dessert or dinner or anything like that, that's when you can enjoy them more, because you give yourself what you need, so you don't need anything from anybody else. So I'm thinking that this snow card is kind of that, You had a brave act, and you disconnected yourself likely from masculine, or created a situation where they disconnected from you, that maybe you weren't able to do the disconnect yourself, so you kind of triggered it in them so they would do it. And it's over a family situation, maybe with their, maybe the karmic that they're with has created a family situation, or if you have kids with them, it could be a dual family situation. But there was some sort of instability going on, so you wanted to create that stability. You wanted to be able to experience emotional joy, and you were really thinking about like the wider aspects of things, and maybe even recognizing, because the patience card is underneath here now and upright, that it's, well, I mean, whether a while is, a week or a few months or a few years, you may recognize that it's going to be a little while, and that you want to stop focusing on what your masculine is doing. And so in order to do that, you had to disassociate and disconnect. And so now you're trying to look at what all else there is, what's wider, like taking kind of the hawk's eye view. And that is helping you, that is bringing you strength. It's helping you heal those sacral chakra things, issues. And I definitely, because of the mirror in this one, and even the infinity symbol over his head, just like with the regular magician, what I'm really getting a sense of is, because you are doing that, your masculine is reflecting. Though we'll see when I do a divine masculine reading. Um, I think I'm gonna pull a couple of divine circus cards and then end this one for now. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Thank you for clearing. Ooh, interesting seeing what wants to come out. The time has come, the walrus said, to talk of many things. You know what that kind of makes me think of is, your masculine may have been kind of acting very pompous in that way. And also, they're likely reflecting a karmic that they've been with, who's been like, I don't know, we'll get more into that in the DM reading, but it may be that they don't realize that the karmic was the walrus preparing to cook them up for dinner, and maybe they're just now realizing that. Alright, Spirit, thank you for giving us a couple of cards for Divine Feminines right now. Interesting. What did we get? Ooh, ha! The Sacred Fool. On the bottom, we have the Red Countess. In the center, we have the Dark Harlequin. Oh, and I'm laughing. On the hot topic, play your hand. Yeah, I think if you haven't already taken a leap of faith, a gamble of some kind, then you will soon. And it definitely feels like, I mean, it's a brave act of going towards the solitude, towards something that's new, and allowing a messy situation to play itself out. But let's see, card number 28, which 10, divine timing. Let's see, 28. I know I've read this card before, but it's been a little while. Definitely seeing a sad juggler. Oh, that's funny. And look what page I turned to, the juggler. Let's see. The Sacred Fool. Imagine a life free from concern about the opinions of other people. A life where you feel brave enough, free enough, trusting enough to play the fool. To make a choice even if it seems illogical, unreasonable, daring, or downright foolish. Cast aside sensible opinions and poker faces. The Sacred Fool invites you to live unafraid, to take a risk and step away from the confines of what seems sensible and logical in life. There's much to be said for common sense, practicality, and a grounded approach, especially with spiritual matters and creating a life that fulfills your dreams. But if you're really going to live, love, thrive, and create in this lifetime, to be original, then you're also going to need to be willing to run the risk of being seen to be the fool. Some people will call you stupid, naive, foolish, and delusional if you dare to dream and follow that dream in all the ways you can possibly imagine. If you refuse to give up, even if others tell you that it hasn't happened by now, it's never going to happen. Then they might say that you are a child, silly, disconnected from their idea of a real world. Don't listen to those voices. They don't understand that the power of the fool is truth. In the court, the fool was the one the king would trust and ask for advice. Why? Because he was allowed to speak the truth where others would try to make politically smart choices to win them power. The fool just called the spade a spade. You know what it seems like is that that's probably what happened. I know a fair amount of divine feminines with there was a bunch of big fight me energy that came up too, and myself included, basically just spoke the truth to masculines, and they were in their own ego fight me energy, and like it was call a spade, and that is a brave act, and a lot of times, especially if you really really want to be with them, and you know that they're an ego, it's going to create towers and stuff. I know it did for my masculine. I called him out. Let's see. When the fool in you speaks, it's to tell you something true. It might seem inconvenient, frightening, or exciting. It might turn your world upside down or inspire you with greater happiness and faith. It's not your job to reason it away or say it's too difficult or dangerous or potentially deluded to act upon that truth. It's your job to remember that the game of life can only be won if you are willing to take the risk and play it. So when the sacred fool is part of your hand, listen up. Take a chance, take a risk, and forget what other people think. Instead, listen to yourself and live true. Affirmation. Sacred fool, set me free to live as I need to be, wildly and divinely me. And I'm laughing too because there was a truck right next to me that had a little sticker on it that said wild, and I was thinking about whether or not to talk about that. And it's funny that that's in here, and we had that strength card, which is often about both learning to embrace your wilder impulsive sides, your instinctual side, and also learning to tame that part of yourself, because to find a balance in there. um, Torn, do I want to pull another card? I think that's kind of the energy of where we have been slash are. So I'm going to pull another one of these cards of advice for those of you looking for a little more direction. Thank you, Spirit Person. Oh, wow, that just came right out. And okay, this is funny. This one wanted to come out before the Velvet Queen, number 25, another 7. I'm seeing 1313 on the clock too, so transformation moment. And I'm seeing right underneath this, I think I'll read this one too, number 5, the Brilliant Virgin. Just see. The Velvet Queen. I don't know if I've read this one before. She almost looks like she's trying, like she's almost squinting to look at something from a far distance. So it may be like advice is look at the hawk's eye view. At 3:31 and the clock is 7, and 12:13 7. So it may be that it's better to kind of take that advice of the world card and look from the hawk's eye view. Like, don't focus so much on what's going on right now. You may have a disconnect going on with your masculine or with yourself, but recognize that the contrast, the distance will help you in future moments. And especially if you're learning to tame and release your natural wild side in more balanced ways and on your own, and to balance your need for intimacy and creativity and connection. When you learn to be able to do that stuff and you give them space to, you know, to I don't know, release leaves, bloom, blossom on their own, that it will be better in the long run when another opportunity for 3D union comes in. Let's see, 25. The Velvet Queen. A rare prize is to be bestowed upon you. The universe is confirming that the most luscious dreams of your heart are being nurtured into manifestation. To this end, you shall be given a saving grace, an intervention if needs be, to be open to receive, surrender doubt in favor of unconditional trust. Through your trust and optimism, you make it easier for the universe to give you a most deserved gift. A rare prize is worth the effort to attain it. Your efforts will need to include loving discipline. What do we talk about, right? Taming those impulses. Loving discipline is not about trying to bend the world according to your will, but rather about readying yourself to align with the spirit of what you want to receive. To receive rather than attempt to take by force requires strength. Look at that. Seeing that funny? Trust, spiritual intelligence, and courage. It's easier to try and force things from a fearful place, but it's much more effective and empowering to learn how to attract and receive through consciously chosen surrender. This allows the universe to do its best work for you. We've been seeing a lot of 12 energy, and I think that, remember what I was saying about that snow card and the kicking card, like a brave, a lot of us took brave action, 3:33 on the clock, to separate ourselves and be in new territory and allow messes to happen, allow our own messiness, allow ourselves to be messy and emotional, and allow our masculines in whatever messy situations that they've created be messy, to get mushy and melty, and they'll be all cold and whatnot, and allow them to dry themselves up. Um, to surrender is not about passivity, but doing all we can and then trusting life enough to let go and allow the outcome to be what it will. Surrendering is not giving up. It's about trusting that there is a great and generous intelligence expressing itself through our lives, and if we are open to it, great treasures are bestowed upon us. So the discipline spoken of here is about changing your consciousness. It asks you to release issues around self-worth. Why should you not be empowered and assisted by the universe to create a life that fills you with joy and feels just right for you? Of course you should, can, and will be. Release any lack of self-worth that would get in the way of your opening to complete trust in the universe. The Velvet Queen assists in shifting the mind from scarcity to prosperity consciousness, where we feel we can receive precious gifts with an easy, open attitude, neither holding on to them out of fear nor pushing them away out of shame or guilt. When she enters your life, she brings a sign of abundance headed your way. This might manifest itself in many varied ways: in financial wealth, career opportunities, increased love and affection in your relationships, or a sense of living in the rich fullness of life, spiritually as well as emotionally and materially. She also indicates a prize that is worth attaining. It is said that the sweetest fruit is at the top of the tree. See, weren't we just talking about the ripe fruits on the tree? And therefore worth the climb. The Velvet Queen lets you know that your most prized dream is within reach through a combination of letting life unfold as it will and your own disciplined efforts. Don't give up. You cannot make the fruit on the tree grow faster. That will happen according to the rhythm of life, but you can certainly do your part to be ready to climb the tree at the moment to savor the sweetness of success. You know what? And that really does. It feels like rather than like to say masculine is a tree, rather than watching it and going like, why aren't you making leaves yet, like being like, I'm manifesting leaves on the tree, why aren't they coming out right now? Instead, simply have the ladder ready. Put it on the back of the house and kind of just check on it every once in a while. When the tree starts to do leaves, yay, good, awesome, thank you, Spirit, more for that. Yes, please. And then when you see the flowers coming out, think, yes, all right, awesome, there's going to be fruit on there soon. And then, think about, okay, how tall is the tree grown? How tall do I need a taller ladder or not? Okay, if I don't, I'm good. If I do, I get it and I put it aside. And then I just know that I'm going to know that Spirit is going to line me up. It's going to bring me out, like maybe a loud bird or a loud noise will make some sort of noise, and I'll come out and go, hey, look, there is a beautiful, delicious fruit at the top of that tree, and look at that. My ladder happens to be dry and ready and available to climb up there and get it, right? The affirmation says, I am strong and have surrendered into the perfection of life's loving grace. I'm glad you liked that, Glenn. And I'm curious because I'm feeling there's a card in here that says "Death shall not take him," and it's one that came up in one of the last readings that I did for Divine Masculines. I'm just curious. Oh, that's funny. I opened up to the middle, and there's the Sacred Fool. Curious where it is. Is it underneath this stuff? Yeah, that's funny. Okay. So if we have these two underneath, Clown of Crossroads, Secret of Shinobi, Nebula Warrior, Steampunk Priestess, and Rah Rah Rah. So I mean, if I'm looking at these kind of like right or straight, it's like when you embrace your power and allow this new beginning for you, and you allow yourself to express your creativity and just to be divine in your own right. Like you don't have to have your divine counterpart in order for you to be divine. And when you do that, you take yourself off the crossroads path, and that is what's keeping. Oh, that's so funny. I was just talking about an Alice in Wonderland reference. Look at that. There's Alice. And it's right beneath the death shall not take him. And also, when I realized that I was on Twin Flame Journey and I started doing this business, one of the things that brought me to that was that I went and bought a brand new deck, and it was this Rider-Waite deck, but it wasn't Rider-Waite, but it was Alice in Wonderland in version of Rider-Waite deck. And I learned a mantra that has helped me so much, which is embrace the absurd. And that's part of what the Velvet Queen, or sorry, the Sacred Fool is talking about. Like, don't listen to others. There are plenty of people that tell me you're silly, you're stupid, you deserve better, go elsewhere, blah, blah, blah. And people do the same thing with my divine masculine and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I'm going to embrace the absurd. I'm going to work on myself and just know that he's going to come home when he's ready, when it's right, because I don't want to force him back. I want him to learn what he needs to learn. I want him to make his own messes. 339, 16, right? Or sorry, 15. I want him to learn the karmic lessons. I've already been through trying to force him through it. I've already been through trying to force myself through it and to do that stuff. And I would much rather embrace the absurdity of glowing up, doing a tarot astrology video, and doing things that I already have a nerdy love for anyways, than to be over there prodding him doing it, doing what he needs to do. But I know that, I mean, from seeing these cards in here too, and what's right beneath it, is like the death shall not take him card is one of those, like, it's a situation where it may seem like they're done. Maybe they weren't the right one. Maybe it's somebody else. Maybe they're not coming, like whatever it is. And then there they are, and it's basically have that faith that as you are doing what is good for you, they are doing what is good for them, and as you find your way back to yourself, they find the way back to themselves, and that's where they find you, and that's where you find them, because at your core you are the same being. 340 right now. 7, victory, right? Now let's read this last one. Brilliant Virgin, which seems like a very Virgo card. It's number 5, related to the Hierophants. Be like the Popess. Let's see. This is another advice card for you. So, in a world where we are bombarded daily with differing opinions and ideas, remaining true to you and your own point of view is nothing short of brilliant. Wasn't I just saying that right? Let go of confusion, distortion, comparison, and compromise. You do not need to compare yourself to another or measure up to anyone or anything else. What matters to you in your successful life journey is to be in touch with your own truths. You know what you feel, no matter what anyone else says or believes. Stay true to you. And there's been big themes of Pinocchio and deceitfulness, and a lot of divine masculines that have been very deceitful, and that's part of the towers going on for them. And it's funny, 1313 again. They have built up so many masks and so many disguises and so many, like, different stories to try to keep things straight, and most especially because they don't want you, divine feminine, to see that they are genuinely struggling, that they jumped away from you and are not doing as well as you are. Even if you don't think you're doing that well, I can almost guarantee you are likely doing much better than your divine masculine, whether or not he's in a karmic relationship of any kind. But if he is, it's very likely that any amount that it appears that he is happy or stable is a complete lie. And the spirit's been coming in with interventions, both to wake up masculines who do not realize that they can have it better, that they deserve better, and that they can get out of the situations they're in, and also to intervene with karmics who just will not let go. There's plenty of my masculine even is like already ready to let go. He's already talking about getting his own apartment and stuff like that, but he's got to work through the self-worth issues. He's got to work through his ability to recognize that he is good enough and that he's safe being alone and on his own, which he's never done in his life. He's in his 40s, never done that, which is, it's okay. I mean, I've only done it a few times myself, but I'm Capricorn. I've been much more used to being a loner, and I'm also an Enneagram 8 type. So again, like I'm okay with that. As part of why I'm good with that. It was inappropriate grammar, but whatever. I know that one of the things that has helped him through his journey, even to get to that point, is when I work on standing in my truth and, how do you even put it, like not accepting less than I deserve, including from him, which is that's cool, Ruth. Awesome, Capricorns unite. It's important to recognize that we train people how to treat us. And that includes our divine masculines. And maybe that's what either happened with you, or maybe that needs to happen, is that brave act, is that, you know that your masculine to to treat you in ways you wouldn't allow anyone else to treat you, because you love them and you want to give them like a million chances, I know. Um, and it's time now to take them off the pedestal and say, no, you know what? I would never have allowed anybody else to even get close enough to me to do that to me. And if I did, I would so Queen of Swords them in a freaking heartbeat. And, yes, you're not going to quite do that to your masculine, but right now is time to take the gamble and to stand in that energy and say, enough. And focus on yourself. Like, don't be mad and bitter at them. Like, yeah, it may require a little bit of drama to get yourself out of the energy of, come on, masculine, I love you. Sometimes you gotta do that. Sometimes you gotta embrace your ego and kick yourself free. You know, kick them in the side like a donkey and be like, get out of the way, jackass. Right? Move, get out the way, right? And that's that chariot energy coming in there. Like, you want to do great things, and you also probably inherently know through your 5D self that the more greatness that you allow yourself to experience, the more irresistible you become to your divine masculine, especially if they've been stuck in a situation that's becoming like when the snow melts. It's all slushy and you slide around on it, you fall on your butt when you walk out of the house, the car's all over the place, and like everything's muddy and icky and all that. And that's their side of things, right? Like, on your side of it, either the snow is pretty and you have wonderful snowmen and you're like, I can make the best of this situation. The snow is fun, let's do it. Where they're over there going, oh, I'm like wet and the car just splashed me, and this karmic won't help me like shovel the driveway, and I've got too much crap to do. I don't need this extra stuff on it. Or they're in the slushy stuff over there and they're like cold and wet and they're looking at you and it's all sunshine over there, like they're in this cold, the thing singing be a hot candy Christmas while they're watching you over there, like in the warm weather going summertime, like or maybe they're thinking, they're looking at you and you're enjoying yourself and glowing up, and, and they hear in their minds going, I got sunshine on a cloudy day when it's cold outside. I got the month of May. Which is funny. My DM and I's one of our anniversaries is in May. Um, but that's much more attractive. It's sometimes you gotta get a little bit cold to get yourself free. Um, it's funny. I just heard what is it? The line from 50 Ways to Lose Your Lover is like, gotta set yourself free, right? And there's so many different ways to set yourself free, but especially when it's a twin flame, it's a little more difficult. Even if you haven't met them, just setting yourself free from focusing on them, it can be, that could be a challenge, but you can handle any challenge. And assuming it really is your twin flame and that it's, that you're meant to be connected in this lifetime, then there's nothing that you can do, including creating 3D separation, that will ruin it or screw it up. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, I'm not giving the green flag to be a turd just because of that. But if you need to do something to kind of create a tower enough for yourself to be able to let it go, it's okay. That's funny, Ruth. There you go. Now, what was it saying? We need to be bold of heart and have a lot of faith when there is an idea within us yet to be manifested in this world. We have to trust in what we see in our hearts, even if sometimes the eyes in our heads see things rather differently. We have to trust that the inner vision, the hope, the dream within us is going to be strong enough to stand the rigors of birth and to be able to come to life in the world. Sometimes we have to trust that we are enough, that we have goodness, value, and worth, and so are worth the time, effort, patience, and commitment required to transform our ideas into realities. The oracle of the brilliant virgin brings you a message. Stay true to you and your course. Do not allow yourself to be swayed by another, no matter how well-meaning their intentions may be or how impressive their arguments may seem. You see, know, feel, and believe in something that is good, pure, and true that needs to come to life in this world. It's meant to be original, so people may not get it straight away. It's meant to happen through you because you understand it in a way that others may not. This could be a choice to do with health, lifestyle, relationship, money, or work. It could also be a project, an idea, a creative expression. See, there's that sacral chakra stuff in there. Dream or vision that you are growing in your heart. There are times when it is wise to open up to creative collaboration and and compromised for a group venture and moved ahead. Was it? Oh, hey, Intuitive, nice to see you. Oh, yeah. I'm glad to see you on here too. This is not one of those times. Don't be afraid. Some people believe that unless you compromise, success cannot happen. This is not true for you at this time. So do not water down the strength of your vision or your dream. You are meant to be birthing something unique into being. The world needs your originality. Pray for courage and trust yourself. Which I can say for me, this has definitely been, for one, there's definitely a kind of a labor, birthing labor thing going on. I see 3:49 on the clock, 16:07, right? Um, but it's definitely one of those, at least for me, like it's been challenging to uphold boundaries with my masculine out of it. I can do it with almost everybody else, but with him, and oh, hey, Kentucky John. And it's one of those, like, one, he's very good at triggering me and knows my weak points just as well as I know his. And the funny thing is, as of lately, he's been very confused because I've worked on a lot of those triggers and they don't pull me in the same ways that they do. But I knew that in doing the brave act of telling him the truth about himself and setting myself free from the connection for a little while to work on my glow up, that it was going to create a tower for me in the disconnection of the communication and the family situation, because we share children and stuff like that. But I had to tell myself, like, look, what have you learned over all these separations that you've been through, especially the one in the last years? Trust yourself. And I have so many people all the time. I have a wonderful community and tribe that are like, look, you're right. Look how many things that you predicted. Like there's almost like 99% of them came true. You've got great intuition. You're able to see systems and families and patterns and things like that. You're so intuitive. Your heart is so good, and you know you are right. And it's a lot. It's taken a while for me to be able to accept those kinds of compliments, to be like, you know what, that is true. And it wasn't. I mean, I wasn't ready for this moment until now. And now is a great time because I'm looking at and going, you know what places in my life am I not ready yet? um, like maybe I turn it around. Maybe instead of going, darn it, masculine, all you need, what is it from Moulin Rouge? All you need is love, you know? And he's over there, love is just a game, right? But now, it's time to turn that around. It's time to look at and say, you know what? There are places in my life where I don't quite feel ready yet. I need a haircut. I need to go through my wardrobe. I would really like to be able to. I mean, I'm still kind of in a situation where I'm caring for my family, and I would like to have that to be more stable. Like, instead of being in this energy of being like, what are you doing? What do you need help with? Where are you at? Why are you doing this? How can I help you? Why are you stuck? What are we doing? And a lot of that's not just you. If you're feeling pulls like that from your masculine, recognize a lot of times it's because they are calling you in. They don't always know it, but like when they're in situations, especially if you've already been in union, in 3D union before, trust me, they are comparing everything they go through to what they went through with you. And most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you handled it way better than anybody that they are bound up with right now, because that person was brought in to show them that contrast and show them what they had with you. And so you're going to feel them going through contractions and them going through big moments where they're really wanting you to reach out. Especially if they're the runner, they want you to chase them. They like that dynamic. They don't want to have to go towards you. They're masculine. They got their ego stuff to deal with. It feels much better when feminine comes towards them. And by you stepping away and saying, I think I'm just going to let you clean up your own melted snow. I think I'm going to let you learn how to do the lesson of patience and recognizing you can kick and scream all you want at that messy melted snow. You can be mad that it's icy and you slipped on your butt, but it's not going to go away until the weather warms up. You can't change the weather. Well, you could, but you shouldn't. But in general, like that's not something you can necessarily control. And a lot of masculines do need to learn their own set of patience. And so, go for your vision. Focus on things that you want to grow in, whether or not 3D union is there. That will help you recognize that you already have union in 5D, and it will help bring in the 3D union. And it changes the dynamic. It's funny because you don't become the runner per se. The masculine's going to kind of feel like you're the runner. It will create that pull on that invisible string. But more importantly, it's different because you're not trying to lure them in. You're not blocking and doing all this back and forth and stuff. You are literally just working on you. And more than likely, you're also in a sense, you're right there. You're not going anywhere. They could catch up to you at any time, but they need to learn the lesson of self-worth in order to get to that place where they realize they are good enough, that they don't need a whole bunch of money, they don't need fancy diamonds and bling and Escalades and all that stuff. They just need to come correct. And when you are being the example of how to do all that stuff, then they're going to see that and they're going to be like, I so want that. What do I need to do in order to feel like I deserve it? Because clearly that's the only thing really standing in my way, and that's when they're going to start going, you know what, I need to get out of these karmic situationships, whether it's work or exes or current partners or things like that. They're going to be like, this stuff's in my way. I don't deserve to be treated like this. I don't deserve to be put through this stuff. I've got way more talent and way more stuff I can work on. And they're probably even, if they know much about you, they probably even can tell that you're not even putting your full energy into things. And they're going to be looking at that going like, look at what my feminine's done. Look at what she's built in the same time that I've had in this separation. She's not even putting her full energy into it. What the heck am I doing? I've just gone backwards. I've gone back to where I was before I met them, or I've gone backwards from where I was. Like, things were so much better when I was with feminine, or if I was with feminine and I was being a total jerk thinking that that was me being slowed down when really I was slowing her down. Now what do I got to do to catch up, Well, y'all, I think I'm going to end this divine feminine energy check-in here, and add a name to the video. I'm not sure what we'll call it. Um, in any case, thank you so much for watching and commenting. It's very nice to do live readings these days. And I think I'm going to let my phone cool down just a little bit, and I'm going to do a divine masculine reading of some sort. So I will see you in that reading, and thank you so much.